Morning everybody. Today's date, welcome to Stockweight Stocks on the Move. Today's date is the 22nd of July 2021. Another dip, another bounce higher. Well, that defines an uptrend. So we're still in that situation where we don't need to worry too much. All the behaviour is the same. The markets still keep rallying higher, and so that's what we want to see. My name is Richard Lee and I manage the stockwaiter.com.au website. We educate by example is my method of communication, so as you work through these real-time examples, feel free to join in and jump on for the ride with us, okay? Now, today we're going to be talking a little bit about being a winner. It's very important. I often talk about charts and applications, things like that. Today I want to talk a bit of a motivational talk today for you guys. So being a winner, I love the Formula One drivers. I love how they approach it. I love their risk management skills, which are pretty well spot on, because if they don't, they die. So the Formula One drivers, I'm always amazed at how they keep it together for so long at such a high speed. So I'd like to be in one of those cars one of these days. I'm probably past it, but still they do amaze me quite a lot. Okay, so the format for the day, as I say, is normally we go through the overseas markets, we look at the ASX 200, Stockweight portfolio, ASX stocks, trading tactics, talking about being a winner, and then I want to have a portfolio review with some of the charts we have in that portfolio that we've been running for the last couple of months. So let's get straight into the charts at the moment. First off is we've got the Dow Jones, and again we can see this, we can see the flop this week and straight back up towards those highs again. So it's holding the line, there's nothing really to concern, it's an uptrend, the average is rising. Volume, there's nothing untoward there, okay, and momentum, it's slowed a little bit as we go sideways, but there's no real concern. So that is a happy chart at the moment. Nasdaq, similar, even stronger again. It's bounced again very nicely this week from the old high of support, trending higher still above the average. Volume's nothing to concern about, and momentum, after having sagged a little bit through here, is now starting to turn back up again, so that's a good sign for Nasdaq. So those markets look okay. We go straight to Brent crude, which I do, it's now reaching this area of resistance, and it's certainly having trouble. We've seen some down days this week, some up days. OPEC, will it, won't it, quotas, will they, won't it, will they, won't. It's all a little bit of a tricky one to read, but the trend is still up. We are in a selling area, so it's normal. We see some selling here. It's a matter of how the buyers respond. At the moment, this week, they've responded pretty well, because we have had some fairly heavy selling, as you can see down here. But as yet, it hasn't had too much concern about too much effect on the price, and momentum still maintains the upside acceleration is steady. Okay, so Brent crude looks okay. Copper is going through its little corrective phase at the moment, no change there. It had its run, it's correcting a bit, consolidating those gains, which is good. So as far as I'm concerned, it may go sideways from here. We've got a support bubble down here. If it goes below there, we're going to see some more downside, but for the moment, we just watch copper, and there's plenty of activity, as we know, going on here, so plenty of buying and selling happening. Gold price, I wouldn't even worry about it at the moment. It's doing nothing at the moment. Nobody's interested in it. I don't know why, but they're not. We've had our big run. It's gone sideways. It's sitting in nowhere land at the moment, so we're not going to waste too much time on the gold price at the moment. Let's get to our favourite, ASX 200. Again, we can worry all we like, but we're really back at those highs again. We're probably going to be stronger today. The uptrend intact, the highs are holding, all the trends are up. The moving average is holding it, the momentum index is holding it, so no concern at this stage. And remember, we've just made a new all-time high, and that is significant in my book. So XJO looks okay to me. So let's now get to some charts. Actually, before we go to that, the ASX, the Stockweight portfolio is down 1 this week to 89. We had 4 out and 3 in, so a bit of rotation going on there. So we're down to 89 stock picks of 168 stocks covered and 21 EFTs. Remember, I added the ETFs last week, so 21 of those are in there as well. The portfolios are full, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. They're holding okay. Conservative, 7 out of 20. Sectors, banks, property, industrial materials. Property's been quite a nice one actually of late, and industrial materials still keeps going on. We know what's happened with the Boral takeover. And we did see earlier this week, we saw the fall this week, but just a little mention of this. In nervous times, the market quickly heads for quality. So when there is nervous, they go for the safety of some of those bigger stocks. And some of the health stocks have been certainly attracting a bit of attention recently, so I'll have a little look at those today. Okay, so first stock off the rank is BHP, and we know what it looks like every week because it doesn't change too much. And again, we'll be up again today. We've broken through last week. We've held above it. Nothing extraordinary on the volume side and momentum side, so we're sort of a little bit of limbo with this one. Although I guess in the end, if you're in doubt, you follow the trend, and the trend is up. And it's been up since we took the entry back here in December, slowly but surely. So I guess we just stay on that side for the moment until we are told otherwise. So BHP remains a hold for me. Okay, now I did mention to you briefly the health stocks, and we'll talk about new highs and how they develop. I'm going to look at a few new highs today because they really are something to behold. Extraordinary as it may seem, if you have trouble buying a new high, well, that's probably because you're a buy and weakness trader. If you're a buy and weakness trader, if you're a momentum trader, you probably love new highs, as I do. So here we've got Sonic Health, which made a new high back here in June last year, went into a bit of a sideways pattern here for quite some time, for the best part of a year or so, and now it's just recently broken high. Now, when we look at this pattern here, the rotation between the trend high and low, and then here we get a no return to the low of the trading range down here, which is probably a sign of weakness. Just like a lower high is a sign of weakness, this is a sign of strength. So we see the sign of strength here. That's just a warning that we are seeing some strength and buying come back a bit early. We've got a little bit of volume happening here, which is a good sign, and then we see the breakthrough, and then we see the run. So the new high for Sonic Health is a good sign. The trend intensity rating is 10. Above the average, volume good, momentum very, very strong. So that's a good stock to be looking at for the moment. Sonic Health attracting a bit of attention. Okay, now I'll get into some more health stocks a bit later on. There's a couple more I want to look at first. One is Brambles. Again, surprise, surprise, who would have thought? But here we are with Brambles. Pretty strong during this corrective pattern. We can see this big cycle, this big range trade we've been in for so long here. We saw this funny little bottoming pattern here, but the higher lows was probably the giveaway. And then we got our focus area around here, downtrend line, moving average, trigger line. So there's 2 or 3 things always there that are telling me it could go higher. Probabilities are it will. And it's done pretty well so far. It started on the right track, broke through about $11. It's up now up around $11.50, which is good. So I'd expect this, in normal trading range behaviour, to start moving back towards that trading range high at R1 here. Again, always follow with your stop. We've got a trend reversal. Volume is encouraging, especially here in the break area, quite good. And momentum also moved into positive phase, quite strongly, a bit like right back here. We haven't seen this for quite some time. So this is a pretty good sign for Brambles. And its trend intensity rating is 9 and looking very, very strong. Okay. The next one we'll look at is Goodman. I mentioned the property stocks. They're all doing not all, but most of them are doing pretty well. Goodman is one that is doing very well. We'll look at Dexus in a minute, but Goodman Group, again, it's just simply made a new high. So what I'm looking at here, when I'm trying to jump on trends, I'm looking for a trend to establish itself before I actually jump on board. So that's what the new high does, or the trend reversal. In this case, I've got a new high. We've got a developing trend here. If I just squeeze up this volume here, we can see the volume is reasonable through this upslanting approach here, but we've got some high highs and high lows developing, and that's really confirmed by this new high. The break to new highs is a very good psychological effect. It's high highs, high lows, and it's also, if you get you above the average and your good volume and your momentum, then you've got a very good case that this is going to go higher. And that's what this does. If in a trend, the odds are that the price will be higher next week than it is this week. And for the most part, that will be true. And in this case here, we've had one attempted down week here, which wasn't even a down week. So really, every week's been higher than the last week, and that's what defines a trend for the most part. So all this is good for Goodman. The new high, the volume, the momentum, all saying rise, and the trend intensity rating is 10. Why doubt it? You wouldn't. Okay, so that's Goodman Group. Now I will go and have a look at some health stocks now, and you can just see exactly what has been happening. It's quite a powerful effect we're seeing at the moment. So for ResMed, let's go back, there it is. Okay, so ResMed has been, a bit like Sonic Health, been in this trading range for quite some time. Okay, since sort of May 2020 through to May this year. Nice 12-month corrective phase. Consolidation of this rally from up here. It's now broken higher. It starts to rally higher. The volume starts to pick up here. Then as we pick up, we get a good breakthrough here. Above the average, momentum starts to jump. This has been a very strong move. And again, we can see no down weeks at this stage. Every week's an up week. And this is what we like. So this really has been a take-off situation for ResMed. Trend intensity rating is 10 as well. So we had a nice little entry on that one back here in June. Okay, the other one we look at, Pro Medicus, been in, been out on this one, but it really has been a good, very strong performer. We got in here very early on. We were taken out here on a brief foray down there, risk on. That's when we think, okay, we're not too sure what's going to happen, so we just go neutral, lock in our profit and wait to see what happens. In this case, it makes a new high, and again, we can see the new high. Jump on the trend is developing, the volume is going, momentum is kicking, it's going to start trending again, and that's what it does above the average, and the trend line kicks high. So this is a little break up here at around about, let's see, that must have been about $48, $48.82, and it's now just touching on, nearly touching on 60 at the moment. So that's been a pretty good rise so far, and we like that. So Pro Medicus trend intensity rating is 9. Okay, now there's two others I want to look at. Helios, again, beautiful chart. We've seen the long-term picture of this one here for a while, and this big resistance level that's broken through with the R2 up there at 550. That's actually R1 now, this is S1. So it's moving ahead well. Again, another new high, and we just see the demand has come into this market. And if I just squeeze this up a little bit, just so as you can see, we've got some very, very good volume here, pushing this price higher. Momentum struck higher again. So that's, looking pretty healthy, Helios. And it has done for a while since they broke up around 327 back here, 320 back here. Trend intensity rating of 10. Okay, now another one we've got is Cochlear. The other one is CSL, which I'm going to look at next week. An interesting looking chart. It's been a bit of a non-performer of late. I'm not too sure why, but we'll have a look at that chart next week. This week I want to have a look at Cochlear. Cochlear also triggered an entry with a new high back here in June. Okay, we had a nice little trend developing here, and now started to push through here. So we've got the trend developing, we've got the new high, we're starting to get the evidence that says we're going to see some more moves higher. Okay, now in this situation here, we've got some volume, which has helped it. We've got the momentum, which is positive, and it's above the average. So all things say green and go. Now the market's come back a little bit. Okay, so now we're in a situation where it hasn't gone on straight away, like Goodman or ResMed or whatever. It's come back a bit. So I need this Cochlear now to consolidate the new high and start to rally shortly. I've got my stop in place. If it doesn't work out, and they don't work out sometimes, you get out and you move on. But in this situation, we just wait for our stop. We keep protected with our stop and just wait to see what happens here. The signs are still pretty good. The trend intensity rating is 8 for Cochlear, so we're still pretty hopeful that this will work out. Okay, so that's Cochlear, and as I said, next week we'll look at Mr. CSL, one of our market leaders. Okay, now also I like to sometimes go through a little negative one which hasn't worked out so well, just to prove that it does happen, and it's about managing trades and not thinking everyone's going to be a winner. So with Platinum Asset Management, if we block out this part of the chart across here, we actually look pretty good. So we've had a nice little trend reversal here above here. It broke up, had a few weeks of sideways movement, came back to support, rallied straight back up to R1, and was looking fantastic at this point in time. Got a bit of volume here, momentum's very good, well above the average, all the signs are positive. Okay, then what happens is we see a correction back. That's okay, these things happen, we don't mind that, but we always got to have a stop in place to make sure if it goes back a bit too far, we don't want to be losing money. So in this situation, our stop has gone off last week, so we exited out last Monday. We exited out this Monday, I should say, back down here. So we've got the rally back down here, then we've got here to a new lower high, and that's always a warning of market weakness. Okay, and then this is what happens, it does fail. Okay, so it fails here. When a stop goes off, it signals neutrality as the odds shift markedly towards uncertainty. It's not a call on what the market's going to do, that it's going to disappear down south, or it's going to go sideways. It says, I don't know, I'm going to protect my money and just move on and go neutral. And that's what the odds are saying, because the risk on thing says it's a 50-50 chance as to what's going to happen. And when you see a break like this, the chances are it will go down a bit lower. So we just neutralise and let it happen. And in this case, we actually did take a small profit from our entry here there with a bit of dividend there, so it wasn't too bad, the outcome in the end, and we're happy to be neutral. It hasn't gone on the way we would have liked it. So that is Platinum Asset Management, one of our sales this week. Okay, two other stocks I want to have a look at. One is Suncorp. Talk about this, the slow but steady. This one has been a slow burner. It broke up here back in November last year, and really, although seems to have been very frustrating, it has actually gone up from, let's see, our entry would have been probably on this day here at around about 10.28. It's now 11.48. Now that was November, so that's 6 months. So that's not too bad a rise. Trend intensity rating is 8. It's above the average. Volume has been quite good and positive. So this one sort of snuck up us a little bit, slow but steady. And we're now into R1, and we're actually pushing pretty hard at this R1 at the moment. It's in good volume. Everything looks pretty good for this one. So as I say, it is a bit of a slow burner, but it's still going higher, and that's all that really matters to me. Okay, so the next one I want to have a look at, there's two other ones I want to go through. One is Dexus, which we saw last week. I did talk about this buyback. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? And it's just sort of interesting that we're just now come back to this support level. Stop hasn't gone off at this stage. We've rallied a bit. We may be up a little bit again today. But an interesting situation. It's faltered after announcing the buyback, but it's still holding up. It's probably a pretty good stock. This has been a pretty good breakout here. Volume's gone a little bit uncertain, as has momentum. So it's just a little bit of debate going on in the market there. But I think ultimately we'll wait to see what happens. If our stock goes off, we get out. If not, it's probably going to get back up and test this highs up around $11, which would be very nice indeed. Trend intensity rating is +7 for Dexus. Don't give it away yet. Okay, the other one I want to have a look at is James Hardie. Again, another one which has made a new high back in October this year, October last year, and then really has gone on pretty well. It had a pretty lengthy consolidation phase through here. That's what markets do. It's okay, provided your stops don't go off. So a good consolidation is always a good thing. It then rallies, come back to that support area, the old highs, and rallies again. So really from the entry here, probably at the opening of this one here, at around 34.47, it's now up around $46, and that's since November, so that's a pretty good return at the moment. So the new high is one of the simplest and most effective signals. It confirms this trend. The trend is intact. This gives me added confirmation that this trend is going to remain so, and it has done so far. So that's a very good sign. Okay, that sector has been quite a good one. Okay, so as a matter of interest, James Hardie is all three portfolios, the 5, the 10, and also the conservative. So we're lucky to have that one in there. Okay, so that's James Hardie. Now what I want to go to is trading tactics. Last week I talked about trends being your ally and your friend, and don't desert them because they look after you very well. You've got to look after them and they will look after you. So trends are good, but this week I want to talk about being a winner. And it's more about sort of like, a lot of what I talk about is charts and replication and the behavioural understanding we gain from understanding the buyer-seller relationship. But we also then have to have belief in what we do. Okay, and the belief grows from doing the work, developing your plan, and then nurturing an affinity with your plan. Confidence and belief will then follow. These elements I want to touch on before we review the portfolio. So just very briefly, it's about having a very positive attitude that your plan is good and you are going to win. So if you think like a winner and you have a winning strategy, you've got a good robust trade plan, then act like a winner and behave like a winner and you will be a winner. Okay, when I talk about acting like a winner, it means controlling. I'm going to talk about this all in a second. So that's about about being a winner when you're trading with the Formula One drivers. They're doing risk management every second, trying to keep their car on the road, and that's what we've got to do as well. So there is always a process by which you can reach your objective, and we have a process, and we know what our objective is. Okay, so with the winning strategy, we need to have focus. We need to focus on what the strategy is. Don't be diverted or distracted by other things that you might think, well, what somebody says or what the dividend is or what the profits come out at. Just focus on what you do. You'll see all I focus on is the price action, my volume, my moving average, and my MACD. That's what gives me my answers that I need. Okay, so I focus very much on what I do, and that will give me the control I need to control my trade plan, to control my trading. Okay, and that follows on. Then I start to, as I do that, I develop consistency in my trading, and then confidence follows. And it's a really bit of a perpetual cycle that goes around and around. So all these things are very important. But what you need to do is get out of your comfort zone, challenge yourself to make sure you can rigidly implement a proper trade plan. Okay. In the trade plan, there are the three main things. There's a system, buying system. There's a risk management, controlling your budget, your income or your losses, or your revenue and your profits, and the discipline to make sure that you can be a winner and you do implement that trade plan. So the discipline to understand, manage and run a portfolio. Okay, so this is a very simple outlook, and just try and keep that focus, keep your aim on what you're trying to do. Think that you're going to be successful, and you will if you do all the right things. Okay, so that's a little bit about being a winner. Okay, so now let's have a look at the portfolio. We'll go through a couple of the stocks here. Firstly, what I have is, this is from last Friday, okay? So we've got Independence and Mineral Resources up there at a rating of 10, both on a 13% and a 45% profit. This is since March. Adelaide Brighton, we're still rating at 9. It's kept bouncing back off those low $3 areas. Finished at $3.50 last week. It's flat at down 1%. Soul Pattinson, 8% up. Computershare, 7% up, and we've given a little bit back there, but we'll wait and see what happens. As I say, all markets go up and down, but overall, this is a very, very, very good outcome. There's nothing too negative about this portfolio. Admittedly, the market's been strong, so we've always got to be aware that that's part of it. So anyway, this is how the portfolio looks. So we'll go through a couple of the charts so you can have a look at them. Firstly, Independence, and we can just see what this one has been doing. We've got the breakup to new highs, which is what we took back in April. Okay, we had a sideways pattern for a while, then it shot up, new high. The volume was very good. We can see the momentum, so the signal was sound. Okay, this corrective phase was certainly on low volume. The last spike up has been on good volume and momentum. So I'm liking the shape, and I'm liking the picture I'm getting here, and I'm liking the evidence that's there that everything it says go. Trend intensity rating of 10, a new high. Just struggled a little bit, and often it happens. They're all different, but as long as your stop doesn't go off, then you're still in it. You're still in the game. And at this stage, Independence is doing pretty well for a trend intensity rating of 10. Okay, now Mineral Resources is the other one there, and it's just, we've seen this chart a few times. It's just shot through the roof. It's up around $60 at the moment. We're just testing it at the moment. We've had a great rally from just above 40, and you can see here the volume is also very good here, and the momentum is very good here. Again, just lift your stop and see where this takes us. That's Mineral Resources. Okay, Soul Pattinson. Okay, again, this one we've got an entry here back in 15th of March. It went on nicely, then came back and tested our patience a little bit here. It didn't go below our stop. It then rallied up to the highs again and looks good. It's just come back a little bit, and we can see here there's been some pretty hefty selling in the last couple of weeks. The only good thing is that it hasn't had a huge effect on the price as yet. So the jury's out a little bit. It's a test of selling, but the buyers may well jump back on this one and push it higher again. So we'll wait and see, but as the evidence says, it's above the stop, the moving average is going higher, the volume is good, and also momentum is still positive. It's slowed a bit, as it has done. Okay, so now the other charts, we've got Adelaide Brighton and Computershare. Okay, so let's see if we can see Computershare in here somewhere. Okay, Computershare. As we can see, this picture has changed somewhat. Okay, so for Computershare, we've got a trend intensity rating of 8. This is looking very good. We had a very good downtrend break here. It went above the average, it broke the trigger point, the downtrend line, and the market looked really good as it started to ramp up there, and very good volume and momentum. Then all of a sudden the sellers hit, not in a big way, but the price came back quite a bit. And it's a bit of a change to what we were seeing here, so we're a little bit wary. Still above the average, volume is still okay, momentum's still positive. We have our stop in place, so we've got to be careful, because we have got a little bit of profit there. And again, I'm not too keen to give it away, so I always keep my stop going up all the time. It's always behind the price, a certain percentage, but I've got to make sure that I don't do any damage, which is the main thing. Computershare may take off again. We've got to give it some time to think and dwell and ponder what it's doing at the moment. But certainly the sellers are giving this one a test at the moment. Adelaide Brighton, another one in the portfolio. Again, we saw the break up here, a very frustrating downward slide, just held above, not $5 I said before, the $3 area, and it's now rated into the highs, and we're quite up high in this range at the moment, up around 342, I think it finished at yesterday. Trend intensity rating is 10 again. It probably was 9 last week. I probably need to update this, but it still looks pretty good. If we go along through here, just squeeze this volume up a little bit, we can just see there's been some pretty heavy volume here on both sides. So this breakup is by no means a really clear breakup, but we did get a positive rating on it, which gave us a signal. So we follow it, and we just let the trade run its course to see what happens. And at the moment it is in the upper bounds of the trading range, so we're still hopeful it may do, but if it falls out, it falls out. So they're the 4 charts that I've got for you, the 5 charts that I've got for you. That's how the portfolio is looking at the moment. It's looking very, very good, and we're very positive about it all. I mean, having this run up at 45% since April is a very, very nice return. As I said before, most of the portfolios you always find there'll be a big winner, and there'll be one that's not doing so well, and the others will be in the middle there somewhere. But it's this big winner that really makes our money, and those that are losing, we're going to make sure we cut those off at the knees before they get any worse. Okay, so that is the portfolio this week. That is Trading Tactics. To finish off, I just want to say that you must believe in yourself if you're going to do this. If you don't have if you don't have that, what have you got? If you're going to trade, do it right and have belief. Otherwise, why bother? I believe in my plan. I enjoy sharing it. I have fun. I am constantly challenged. I look forward to getting up every day. I own my losses. I still forge ahead with the belief that every day will be a good one, or at least I know I'll make the most of it, and my life is my own. These affirmations are especially poignant in these somewhat difficult and uncertain times that we're all having. So stay positive. Good luck for the trading week. Thanks for listening. Hope you all learned something today, and I will see you next week.